Hello and welcome to Discovering Grayslake, unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I'm your host, David Woll, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders, right here where we call home. Grayslake Rehabilitation Center is a community-based private practice physical therapy provider. Do you know they have 13 clinical providers with various levels of specialties, including orthopedics, sports, neurology, vestibular, geriatrics, pelvic floor, and aquatic? What? Did I just say they have a pool? Well, they do, and it's the largest indoor warm water pool in Lake County, featuring 2 underwater treadmills and swim currents. And recently added clinical treatment specialties, in layman's terms, shockwave. They have both radial and focus units that are the newest tool in regenerative medicine, available to everyone. They pride themselves on the most current and up-to-date specialized care to keep you moving. If you're looking for physical therapy, make sure to see our friends at Grayslake Rehabilitation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of Discovering Grayslake. I am sitting here recording from Agora Co-working here on the corner of Center Street and Atkinson. Big shout out to Luke. Thank you so much, buddy, for letting us record here. So if you guys are looking for a co-working place or somewhere to get your business out of the house for a day, for a week, or even longer than that, come down and talk to Luke. Co-working place work out very, very well for you. Very good people here. So today I've been hunting down Linda for, let's see, a year and a half by now. So Linda Scholz, Something's Brewing, and Uniquely Sweet. Not exactly.
Uniquely Sweet is only online now.
What?
You didn't know that.
Okay, see, now we're going to back up.
Okay.
So Linda, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you for hunting me down for a year.
Yeah, well, no, you work so much that...
I was just playing hard to get, Dave.
Right. Well, you did a very good job at that.
Thank you.
And in Grayslake, Something's Brewing, I think, especially for Center Street, that store down there is a huge part of our community.
It is. Downtown is extremely community driven, very much so. And
it's like not only for coffee and everything that you guys have, but it's a meeting place where people gather.
Yes. And I get told every day there's not enough seating inside. I know. I wish that I could give the store a growing pill and make it bigger. But
are you trying to tell me that people have opinions on how you should run your business?
Oh, yeah.
I would never guess that in a million years.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning because it was funny. So Linda and I were going back and forth. And I said, hey, just send me some talking points of things that we could, just so I knew a little bit more about history. But holy cow, there's a lot. So let's go back to, first of all, like growing up, where did you grow up and how did we get into all this madness?
Oh, God. Okay, so Chicago.
All right.
The mean streets of Chicago. Yep.
You are kind of thug. You're like the street girl.
Yeah, I definitely lived the thug life. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that was a thing. I got chased home all the time.
Did you really?
Yeah. Or we fought. Either or. Yeah, I was not in a good neighborhood.
Okay.
I got mugged when I was 13. I was on my way to my friend's funeral who had been shot by the police.
What?
Yes, and I was mugged. They stole my purse full of makeup, and I was very upset with them. And a lady heard me yelling at them, probably using some choice words that a 13-year-old should not have been using, but it was Chicago. So,
well, when you're getting mugged, you're allowed to use that kind of
language.
Yeah,
that too. And the lady came out. I chased them. I ran after them. I got the driver's license, the plate number, and obviously the police were called, blah, blah, blah. And then the police came and had us come down to the station because they said that we needed to identify them. And I was 13, saw my first lineup, and it's not like you see in the movies. They're right in front of you, so my mother was having a fit.
Oh, because they're looking at you, too.
Yeah, they were right there. And they lived 2 blocks away from me. So, yeah, I was kind of on lockdown after that. I wasn't allowed out of the house.
I bet.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Well, and it was like, I lived at Augusta and Pulaski, so the other side of Pulaski is where the neighborhood turned. So I didn't go down there anyway, but,
right.
Because that was like, you don't go across. And that literally was a block away. But that's just how the city was divided. And I have no idea if it's still like that.
Wow.
But, yeah, so that was 13. So I was working at a hot dog stand when I was 13.
Really?
Yeah, in the summer I worked full time. That was my first job, and I did get paid under the table back then.
Did you?
$1.50 an hour.
Really?
I just dated myself, didn't I?
Wow.
My father's rule was if you're going to work, you're going to pay to live here.
Okay.
So I want to say 70% of my paycheck. And one time walking home, back then we all did the flip with our comb in our hair. Had that big bubble comb. I think you're younger than me. You might not know that. Pulled the comb out of my back pocket, lost my money.
Oh, no.
Not believing that was not a good time. But anyway, so I worked at that hot dog stand for quite a few years. And I worked for Rose. And she was an Amazon of a woman. And she ran such a tight ship. Exactly the way she wanted rags folded. I mean, and I did everything from a kid. I would go in there and open the whole place. She lived in the apartment upstairs. She didn't come down until after the shop was open. So I was cooking sides of beef. Like, I remember, like, basically crawling down into this huge vat to grab the hunk of meat and get it out.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and cooking all these sides of beef and cutting all. I was immune to onions. Now I can't stand an onion. I was immune to onions. I could.
Really?
Yeah, just slice big jars and jars and jars of onions. Yeah, big buckets of pickles. And like I said, she just ran such a tight ship. Everything was perfect. Right. So I was there. I don't remember how many years. In the summer, I always worked full time, and then. After that, I worked in a grocery store called Super Plus.
We're taking a quick break just to say hello because everybody knows Nano, and Nano knows real estate. And actually, I believe that's the name of her Instagram page. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or know somebody in the market for a home, contact Nano from Baird & Warner. She's a Grayslake girl helping out Grayslake people.
So I worked first... if I remember this correctly, I worked in the bakery first and then the deli, and then it was kind of like back and forth, that they were pulling me to both. I was there for a while, learned a lot there too, because you're baking, you're in the deli. I'm learning. I had already used a slicer, but there I'm doing more of that. Got my first fun interactions with, well, not my first, because the hot dog stand will be first interactions with customers. They're not nice to kids in hot dog stands back then.
Probably not.
Yeah, but it was what it was. We didn't know any better. It didn't matter.
Sure.
That was just how it was. I knew Rose at the hot dog stand. I knew she had a gun under the counter. I was told, you don't touch that. Okay, I'm 13. I'm not touching your gun. But okay.
Wow.
Yeah, she was tough.
Wow.
But so then I was at Super Plus. Then I feel like I had a job in between then. At some point when I turned 18, my mother said to me in her German accent, "You've got to get a real job now."
Okay.
No more of this with the food. So I got a job with a lawyer. I had no experience. All of a sudden I was some kind of legal secretary. And this was in Chicago still, so he was a quickie divorce lawyer. That was awful. I was only there for 6 months. Anyone that got a divorce through this guy, I'm not going to say his name, your files were all over the floor of his office. Cockroaches all over. That was horrible.
Wow.
There was just things that were said. I would have to drive with him out he had another office in Oak Lawn, I think, and I would be in the car. Just things that were said. So the one night that I was supposed to go with him out there again, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I told my mother, like, this is what he's saying to me. I'm not going. And I called him and I told him, I'm not going. I'm not coming back. He had tried to stop me from leaving the night before. I'm like, I'm done.
Wow.
And he was like, you can't leave me high and dry. It's the first time I never quit a job like that. And I would say that I was scared of him, but I wasn't scared of anything back then,
Right.
But I was like, no, there's nothing you can do to me. I'm not coming back. And so I quit that job, and that's when I went and worked at the grocery store. I was like, So much for the adult job, Mom. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, went to the grocery store.
Well, good for you getting out of that.
Yeah, because that was just like, no, you're not doing this.
Wow.
Yeah. I already had a very domineering father, so as far as being afraid of a man, no, that wasn't happening. But so then I worked at Superplus for a while, and then they were going out of business, and Treasure Island was opening, and that was, they had 7 stores. It was an upper-end gourmet grocery store, and they were building a new store on Clybourne, and then I was given 2 job offers. So one was at Butera running the bakery department, and one was at Treasure Island just being a deli clerk.
Okay.
So I went there. I already had the job at Butera. They were like, you can have it. I went to Treasure Island. They offered me the same money, but I would not be I was going to be the manager at Butera. They offered me the same money at Treasure Island. I went and I saw the store. I was like, this is beautiful. They had a mezzanine. I was like, holy cow, this place is amazing. So I didn't want to go to Butera. Like,
right.
In Chicago, Butera's not nice. This store was beautiful. So I went there, and I worked in the deli for 6 months, and then my boss, Mr. Lizaris, said to me one day, we're going for a drive. And I was like, okay, that's weird, but okay. So we're driving, and we're like on Lakeshore Drive, and I'm like, where are we going?
Right.
He's like, we're going to your new home.
Okay.
I don't want to move.
Right.
So he takes me to this other Treasure Island on Lakeshore Drive. The address at the time was 666 Lakeshore Drive.
Okay.
And takes me there. He's like, you're going to be working here now. I'm like, oh, hell, I'm not. Ooh, am I allowed to say that?
You can say whatever you like.
Okay, sorry. So he's like, you're going to be the manager of this deli here, because whoever was there at the time, I don't remember, was leaving. And I go in this store. The store is dark.
Oh, no.
It was so dark. It was old. I was like, I don't like it here. And he's like, we're going to give you more money. Okay. Guess I'm going to Lakeshore Drive.
Wow.
So I ended up working there. I was the manager there for 7 years. That one was like bakery deli combined. So we did so much catering and food service. That store was in a high-rise, so 666 Lakeshore Drive was a high-rise. It was right across the street from Northwest Memorial Hospital, so it was very busy, extremely busy. And at some point, Playboy bought the top 2 floors of the building. The address changed to 680 because Playboy could not be associated with the devil.
Right.
And up until then, like we would get bread from companies that would come in. Every box, the drivers would draw devils on every box.
I'm sure they would.
Yeah. So they changed the address to 680, and then they moved in. Yeah, and that was crazy stuff. I mean, we, like I said, catering, because everyone there had so much money,
right.
And it was so much business, businesses doing catering, and we would cater Thanksgiving dinners, and I remember we were baking all these turkeys, and there was no more room. We had pies on top of every turkey baking.
Wow.
That's the stuff we did.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were an extremely busy woman then.
Yeah, I was, and that's where I learned to work a lot of hours,
Yeah.
And I saw my dad do that. My dad always worked a lot, that was just how things were done back then,
right.
So I was there the 7 years, and then we decided, I had my son, and he was like 2, and we moved out here. We had our house built in the estates of Eastlake.
Okay, so how do you find out, how do you know anything about Grayslake?
We just started looking. We knew we wanted to get out of the city because we had this kid, and there was a drive-by like right on our street, and we're like, we're done. We're getting out of the city, right?
Right. And
we had bought it. We had a 2-flat that we bought there, and my husband completely remodeled it, and so we had that, and then we just started looking. We just kept going further and further out. I had a friend that was 2 doors down from us when we lived on Montana Street in Chicago. He was a friend that I worked with at Treasure Island, and his name was Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy. And he worked with me. He was the produce. He was the manager, and then he was the produce buyer for all of Treasure Island. And we were really good friends. And he was like, hey, he used to call me Tosh all the time. He's like, Toshi, there's a house 2 doors down from us that's for sale. And this lady, her parents had just passed away, and she just wanted to unload the house. So we went in, we looked at, and so that's, I'm going backwards now. That's how we bought that house. But anyway, so we were 2 doors down from him. We became really good friends. The 4 of us, his wife and my husband and I, we all started looking together. We wanted to move out together. So we started looking and looking and looking, and we just kept
going north
out further. Right. Yeah, until we found something, and then we found where we they ended up moving to Round Lake. They found a different house. They really just they liked that. They got more property than what we were getting here. We changed houses so many times because back then there was 2 builders, and then they started building Harrion Farms. So we actually have a Harrion Farms house because we came in at the end.
Gotcha.
We came in at the end, and then there's all kinds of creative financing that you could do back then that you can't do now.
Yes, I know about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we had that 2 flat. We took a loan out on that, used that to put our down payment on the house here. But then with the houses in Harrion Farms, they put in different windows. So we had to come up with more money because we wanted the original windows. So my husband was just doing side jobs, and we were both just working, right?
Wow.
But so we got our house, here. I commuted for about a year.
What year is that? Any idea?
92.
Okay.
I
All
think,
right.
92,
Ish, yeah.
93. Yeah, because we moved in right before my son's birthday in 93. Because I remember we had his birthday party, and everybody from Treasure Island came to my house for his birthday party.
Very cool.
So I did that commute for like a year, and then I finally broke it to my boss. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I literally.
That's a terrible commute.
It was putting me to sleep. Like I would go super early in the morning, and I would leave late at night. And the car, I was taking no-dos. That's when I started drinking a lot of coffee. And the front of our house wasn't finished. The yard wasn't landscaped. And I remember I took too much no-dos. And I had to crawl up the side of the house.
Oh, my God.
And I went to grab the siding, and I slipped, and I fell backwards. I missed a big piece of rebar by, like, not even a foot. Wow. And my arm I broke my arm.
Wow.
I broke my arm. I had to go work in a deli with a broken arm for 8 weeks. That was not fun. But so then I told him, eventually I broke the news that this is what I'm doing. So I did have a partner when I first opened. That was my friend Jimmy from Treasure Island, his wife Nina, who lived 2 doors down from me. We moved out here together, right?
Right. So you decided to open here.
We were going to open a coffee shop. Okay. Yeah. So we started looking for a place. My son was going to Peppermint Stick on Whitney Street. That building right next door was available for lease. Mm-hmm. That's how we found the building. And I don't even remember now because it's been 30 years. Did we even look at anything else? I don't know. But we saw this building. I was like, this is it.
Right.
The building was huge. Nobody knew how huge that building was. That building was over 5,000 square feet.
Holy smokes.
It's way bigger now.
For a coffee shop.
Yeah, because it was swallowed by another. I think that's an engineering firm that's in there now.
Yeah.
So when we moved, it was us, and then Lakeland News Media was right next door back in the day. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're making me like go, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, so we moved in there. Nina was there less than a year. Her husband got really sick. And then, that makes you evaluate things. So, like, all kinds of stuff happened with that. But she left, and when he was sick, like, she was gone. And all of a sudden I went from having a partner to having nobody. And I was like, holy cow. And we had staff at that point, but not much. We had, like, two kids maybe working for us.
Really? Okay, so when you have a coffee shop, the concept of it was coffee and what else? What else did you have? Coffee
and bakery is what we started with, yeah. And I did all the baking in the beginning, and she took care of the front counter. Yeah.
So at that time, you were working a lot of hours, too. Obviously, you got to get in there early.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
So how long
we didn't stay open as late as we do now. I think we were closing at 6.
Okay. So how long do you stay at that location?
10 years.
You were there for 10 years?
I was there for 10 years, and then my lease came up.
Okay.
I tried to buy the building because they sold it in the interim. I tried to buy it. I think it was First Bank of America that was right on the corner. They laughed at me. They were like, you can't get a loan. I'm like, the mortgage payment would be less money than I'm paying for rent. That makes no sense. But anyway, I hadn't been in business long enough. I hadn't proven myself. I mean, I was paying my bills, but I really wasn't making money.
Right.
So then that lease came up. Well, there was more stuff that happened in the middle of that. I had my candy store. That's when I had Uniquely Sweet.
Okay.
Oh God. So.
So during having the coffee shop, bakery,
we started making chocolates.
Okay.
Eventually, during all those years, we started making chocolates. We were wholesaling chocolates. I was wholesaling to Great America for a long time.
Oh.
A long time. Yeah, I had to finally drop them as a client because they weren't rotating product. They just weren't able to take care of it the way it needed to be taken care of, and I couldn't control that. Sure. And so eventually I was like, I'm done with that. There was a lot of stuff. But we stopped doing that. But I was wholesaling. My biggest wholesale account was Uniquely Sweet there in Buffalo Grove. And I became friends with the owner. Her name was Wendy. Well, when Washington Street, when that building went up, and they approached me and I was talking to them about opening a second location there, I was like, oh, this is cool. So I called her and I said, hey, Wendy, what do you think about this? I've never been in a strip mall before. I ran some things past her. And she goes, well, that sounds good, blah, blah, blah. And then we got off the phone, and 5 minutes later, she calls me back. She's like, Linda, don't open there. Buy my store. I was like, what? She goes, I'm closing. Yeah, I want to sell. I'm like, don't close. You're my best client,
Right.
So I ended up buying that. I was pregnant with my daughter I was crazy. I was glutton for punishment. I bought that store from her because I was like, if I don't buy it, I'm going to lose this business, And it just seemed, I was like, I'm already making everything I'm making everything for her. I might as well just go in there and man the store.
So where was that store at?
Half Day in Buffalo Grove Road.
Okay.
And that was in a mall. So, talk about moving a lot. So she was at one end of the mall. I moved it to the other end to a store twice as big. And, the economy was different then. But then things started kind of shifting at some point before 2008 because I moved it from there back to Grayslake because I could not find help in Buffalo Grove. All my help was coming from Grayslake. Nobody there wanted a job. And I was
Interesting.
Like, and the drive was too many years. It was, it was just getting to be too much. So I brought that, and then we moved down to the 888 Atkinson right off of 120.
888 Atkinson. Like on the corner.
Right, Atkinson and 120, directly across the street from Jewel.
Gotcha.
So we were there for a long time, but that's an industrial mall. Nobody goes in there to shop. People knew we were there because I had birthday parties, so people would find us.
Yes, that's my first recollection of that.
Yeah, because I had the one space, then I ended up taking a second space, and we were using it for parties, and then we started getting tour buses in there, this was all pre-COVID. So the tour buses were awesome because I would get like 50 little old people from all over the place. They were hysterical. Like, that was the best time. I would put on a headset with a little microphone. I was like, I'm Julie, your cruise director.
That's awesome.
And they made candy, and that was great. I would like to do that again, but I need to figure out how to make that happen because I don't have space.
Right.
But I would really like to do that again. But anyway.
Wow.
I've lost track of where I was in the story.
Okay.
So the building on Washington got put on hold. So I bought Uniquely Sweet. I had that for a year. Then they built this out. So I signed the lease. Then I opened that.
At
so then I had three stores. No.
Oh, at Washington.
I was downtown, Grayslake on Whitney Street. I had Buffalo Grove, Uniquely Sweet.
Buffalo Grove.
Then I opened the second Something's Brewing on Washington Street.
Whew.
Then the following year, that lease came up on Whitney Street. They doubled my rent. That's when I started taking a hard look at things. I was like, you know what? We got to close this store. I can't pay double. They're like, well, you have lots of customers. I have lots of customers spending $3. And back then, it was a bagel and a cup of coffee, and it was $3 or $4. Like, you can't.
Right. I didn't know that's how rent was figured out, by how much money you make.
And they didn't see my books. They just saw that I was having customers.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So that was rough because I viewed that as a failure. I actually wrote a story about that. It's in the Tribune. If you Google my name, that story comes up. I'm like, I'm published.
I'll put a link in that. That's cool, though. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had to do it. And it was funny because then they came back and they tried to say, well, we'll lower it a little bit. And I was like, I already made up my mind, and I'm stubborn. And once I started looking at things, I'm like, this is the right thing to do. Right. I could have really used that building now. I need space. So then that store closed. Then I opened up in the college. And I was in there for like 10 years. We started with a mobile cart, which I just finally donated to one of the schools around here because we stay on that thing.
So you had a mobile like coffee cart?
Yeah, we had a mobile coffee cart. And after, I don't even remember, a year or two, I lose track of time like that, they built out a coffee shop because we were just doing so much business in there. So they built out a coffee shop for us. So we were in there, and that was supposed to come up for request for proposal, RFP, like I think every year or something, but it didn't for like 10 years. And then they wanted one company to run all the food service. Oh. The cafeteria. I was like, I don't want the cafeteria. That's not my thing. That's so not my jam. I don't want to sell chicken nuggets. No. So they said, okay, this other company is going to take over, but they're going to lease the coffee shop back to you. I'm like, that's fine. I don't care. Whatever. 2 weeks before that was supposed to all go down, they said, no, you got to move out. They want the whole thing because they must have then seen our numbers.
Sure.
So I had no choice.
And get out of college.
Yeah. And whatever, in hindsight, it was fine. Luckily, I was able to absorb all that staff into my store, so I didn't have to lay anybody off. I've never, ever had to lay off an employee. So then we left there, and that was... I don't even remember what year that was now. I just remember thinking when COVID happened, thank God I wasn't in that school because that kind of cash flow would have killed me for that to all of a sudden stop because you still have all those bills coming due. Right. So then at whatever point, Grinders was downtown.
Oh, gosh, I
forgot. The spot. Yeah, so remember that was Cheshire Cat years and years ago. And then I don't remember if anything, there was something I think in between them and Grinders. So Dale owned that. Dale worked for me.
Okay.
And then she opened that, and whatever her reason, she closed for whatever reason. It just doesn't work out sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's hard. It is hard to own your own business.
Hey neighbors, this is Bill Mock with the Grayslake Chamber of Commerce. And if you're looking for a network of hard-working, customer-focused, and generally friendly local businesses who are dedicated to helping each other succeed, then I'd like to invite you to check out and consider joining our Grayslake Chamber. We offer our members so many ways to advance their businesses through social networking events, special event sponsorships, informative lunch and learns, and the ever-popular after-hours mixers. Come see why we say we're the new wave of business here in Lake County.
So that sat empty she had it empty over a year.
Really?
I think that the one was open. It was empty for a while.
Wow.
So then somebody said something, you should go open up there. And I was like, no, I don't want another store. And then that just kept playing over in my head. I was like, I kind of miss being downtown. I miss the community of it. Because Washington Street is great. It's not the same. It's more similar now. I have a lot of customers that shop both stores, so that pulls in more of that community. Downtown, you just see everybody's talking to each other. And that really came out in COVID.
Yeah.
So...
And anybody that doesn't know where if you're listening, in case you don't know, the Washington Street store is in the strip mall right across from the entrance to CLC.
Yep.
What else is over there? Fitness Pursuit, Jimmy John's.
Yep.
Yoga Effect.
Yep, she's right next door. She's next to my next door neighbor. Yeah.
Because I just think every time I do one of these shows, I'm like, wait, we don't state the obvious.
I always assume everybody knows everything, right? Yeah.
Okay, so
forget because it's so common to you.
Right. And I shop both stores, so it just depends what time of day it is.
A lot of people do now. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then my son, my little guy, says best hot chocolate ever.
Oh.
So we have to stop. Like I have to sometimes go a different way, so I don't go near, just so we don't have to stop for hot chocolate.
Because we see sees it.
Because he sees it, then we have to go.
Gotta stop.
Have to go.
Yeah.
All right. So the Grayslake or the downtown store was Grinders. Then you make the decision that.
Yeah. I was like, okay, you know what? I want this. And originally, because everything was decorated green, and I was like, okay, we're going to pull all this out. We're going to get open right away because we need the cash flow because, those bills are coming, and it was already tight as it was. And I just have all these wild aspirations of go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my poor husband. Okay. He's like, you said no more stores. I'm like, I know, just one more.
Just one more.
Poor Mike.
God bless him.
Because he's got to build out everything for me.
Oh.
He does.
He gets that
well,
part.
that was his story too, because he had his own construction company till COVID. So we got Grinders. We did that. We changed what we needed to change. We left the counters and stuff, which I hated because green's not my color.
Right.
And that didn't get changed till COVID. So, and it's funny how time passes and you just deal with things, right?
Amen.
I
know.
So then we had that store, and then so
at this time when you move in there, you still have the Buffalo Grove store as well?
No, I had moved Uniquely Sweet, was in Grayslake at that point. Yeah, okay. So everything was in town, so I was just driving in circles all day long.
Makes it easier though, right?
Yes and no.
For a little bit.
It was too much time spent in the car.
Right.
Because just trying to manage it. We've gotten so much better at that. I say that, but now Mike's the one running between the stores, so he's probably like, it's not better.
Right. Okay, so I have my question, first of all, when I think about this from having a business of my own on a much smaller scale of what you have going through all of these things. So having Uniquely Sweet and you have a store in Washington, you have a store downtown. It takes some really staff-wise, this is a big deal. You have to have an awesome staff to make this work.
Yes, and I do. I'm slightly over 50 right now, which isn't a lot, between that many and between how much, because we're open 7 days a week and we work from 5 in the morning till 7:30 at night, so it's a lot of hours to cover.
Right.
And you have to have more coverage for all those peak times. My employees work hard.
Right.
They do. They work hard. So, so we had Grinders, and then we had COVID.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's. I don't like to talk about the C word, but it seems like that was a.
It comes up with anyone that was in business, and I'm sure.
Goodness.
Yeah, because that was a defining point for a lot of us.
Right, and it buried some people, businesses.
Yeah.
But others flourished during times like that too.
Yeah.
And it has to be hard. All I can think of with the C word is you downtown Grayslake, centered around people gathering and coming and talking, because it really is a meeting place.
Yeah.
So how did that work?
So
I'm sure each location was different.
Yes, because Washington fell off hard. That store fell off hard.
Why that one more? Because the school?
Washington pulls more from businesses and the schools, not just CLC, but CLC has never come back up to the numbers that they were at before COVID, because so many kids took their classes online now.
Amen.
So there's not as many people there. But Washington is building more community now. We are definitely getting more. We're pulling a lot from Gurnee now that we didn't before, and people come in every day. I lived here. I didn't know this was here. It's like, how do you not know?
Right.
But
because we didn't state the obvious on the show where it's at.
We take for granted.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, but downtown did become a gathering place despite everything. I never saw so many people talk to each other, and they did it. They stood apart. We put those damn stickers on the floor, and you're over here, but they still talked. We never closed. We were considered an essential business. I closed the candy store because I thought we had to, until I found out that Jelly Belly stayed open. And I was like, if Jelly Belly is essential, I'm essential. We got no guidance. We were never told, yes, you can stay open. No, you have to close. We were never told anything. We were never given a list of rules. It was the Wild West. All we knew is what we heard on the news. We never got a phone call from the health department giving us any kind of guidance. I would call and ask questions, and they were like, yeah, that sounds good.
What?
Yeah, because I remember I called and I said, should I take down my cream and sugar station? Because I don't think people should be touching that. And they're like, that's a good point. Yes, you should take that down. I was like, okay. Took it down, and we never put it back. Best thing we ever did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're full service. We put the cream and sugar in for you, and you don't make a mess on my counter anymore.
Right.
Because that was a nightmare.
I remember that counter like it was yesterday.
It didn't matter how much we cleaned it.
Right.
But, yeah, so literally the Wild West with all of that.
Okay, so, and this was a big thing, too, because you're saying that it's hard to say, like, who, so all of downtown Grayslake businesses were kind of making a decision on their own how they felt about stuff. Should we stay open? And I know that, everybody feels differently. We're not getting political, but there's other businesses in town that would be mad at people that were either open or things, just strange things that happen. But you close your doors, you make no money.
You can't pay your staff. You can't pay your bills. You're going to go bankrupt because your landlord still wants to be. There was no rent abatement. I mean, I didn't get any rent abatement. I didn't get any abatements on anything.
Right.
So I flung open my doors literally. We kept the front door wide open, which I was completely breaking a health department rule. But I was like, what are they going to do?
Right. Didn't you say that you were freezing in there like it's March?
We wore our coats, because I was like, well, I'm going to at least circulate the air in here so that I get fresh air. And, I mean, we put up plexiglass right away. So we were behind glass. We weren't wearing masks in the beginning because there wasn't talk about that at first. Well, at first, we were being told those masks didn't work.
Yeah, we got told a lot of different things.
Yeah,
right.
So it kind of really went back and forth. When we were told that we had to enforce the mask mandate, we did. Because I was told by the health department, we will shut you down if you don't. And when the health department finally came in for that first inspection, it was well into it. That was the first time they ever came in my store with a flashlight. I was like, what are you looking for?
With a flashlight?
Yeah, they came with a flashlight. I'm like, I did not understand that. I have no idea what that was about. But they questioned us. What will you do if somebody comes in here and they're not wearing a mask? I'm going to tell them with their mask on or they have to leave. What? And they're like, okay, you pass. Really?
That was it.
It was just, they were just making sure that you were enforcing it.
Right. And those people probably, their jobs must have really sucked at that time.
Yeah, I'm sure they did because they had to listen. They were just like, I mean, I would ask questions and they didn't know either because nobody knew.
Nobody. They still don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we were just, I mean, I remember like everything. We had bins of salt and pepper shakers, like everything. We just packed everything up and we had to close up the dining rooms and nobody could go back there,
Interesting. So people could still come in and they can get their coffee.
Yeah, they were.
But then
they were encouraged to order ahead. So we didn't have online ordering back then. So they called, and I mean that was fine. We liked that. So they weren't in the store for too long. And I mean, obviously we slowed down, but we were still doing okay. We slowed down, but our payroll went down.
Right.
And I was working more. I was working a lot more.
Seems to be the story of your life.
Yeah.
Working hard, working long hours.
Yeah. And my husband still had his construction business, so he was finishing jobs, and that was getting odd because I remember one that he was on. He was doing a bathroom or something, and then the people came home and the lady was coughing up a storm, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, I had COVID." I'm like, "Oh my God." And at that point, we were all scared for our lives, right?
There are a lot of things that, the fear of all that, and the fear of, what happens.
Yeah.
And the fear of keeping your business alive, because what the hell are you going to do then?
Well, and I can't force people to come to work, but I'm trying to keep these 2 stores open, and I don't have enough staff. So eventually, my husband was like, all right, I'm going to stop doing construction. I'm going to help you. So thank you. Thank you.
And this is where the green counters go away, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yes, because, and that was the first thing I said to him, how about you remodel the downtown store? How about we finally do that? Mm-hmm. And now we got no money coming in, but we're going to do this.
Sure.
I got free labor, so I only have to pay for the materials.
Right.
So he ripped out the front counter, the back counter, and we stayed open. We stayed open while he did that. We were like crawling over this. There was hardly anybody in the store. It didn't matter.
Right.
We just put up a table and we worked off of that.
It's kind of an exciting time.
Yeah. And then we got rid of the fountains. Everything was expiring. Like, it was all coming in super short dated because they weren't selling enough. it was expiring. They weren't honoring it. I said, take your machine out of here. Like, this is gross. You're giving me expired soda anyway. We're not selling enough. There's no point. The machine is this big. I could use that space for something else.
Right.
So that went away. We put in chocolate counter, the huge bakery. We used to have a bakery case, like 4-foot wide bakery case. That was it.
Right.
That's all we had. So, and people will say, oh, your retail area took up all the seating. That's not true. I have just as much seating. I have 2 less chairs now than before COVID. It just looks different.
Right. Wait, are you talking about people with opinions
yes.
again?
Yes.
So funny.
Yes.
I never would consider that that would happen.
Yeah, bite my tongue. So we had a huge community table, a huge wooden community table, 2 of them in that store that my husband Mike made. Well, nobody's going to sit at a community table anymore, right? It's COVID.
Right.
I had pulled those tables up and I turned those into display because we're still making candy. These people can't spend money anywhere else. I'm going to put all this candy right up front and center because everything was always up against the back wall and we didn't sell that much. The minute I moved it to the front, then people really wanted to shop.
Yeah.
We sold so much candy and they wanted to be comforted.
Well, who doesn't? If we had to be home, who doesn't want to bring a bag of chocolate pretzels home or whatever?
Exactly.
Right?
So we were selling everything.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and that's where with restaurants, you either made the right decisions or you didn't. It was one or the other. You either fought or maybe people were just scared and they didn't know what to do. But I was like, I'm doing everything I can, and we did a lot because if you remember COVID, Tiger King was the thing.
Oh, yes.
Right? So
I might have watched it.
Started making cookies. We had Tiger King cookies and we had Carol Baskin cookies.
Are you serious?
People were like, oh, you got those cookies? Yeah.
That is so
And then,
funny.
you remember there was no toilet paper.
Yeah.
Well, I had ordered a couple cases of toilet paper because I was like, we can't run out of toilet paper. At that point, I was like, my customers have to have toilet paper because I didn't know we were getting shut down. My employees have to have toilet paper. So I ordered cases. So I had all this toilet paper. So then we made candy bars. And we made stickers because we design all of our labels and everything in-house and we have them printed. So we made all kinds of stickers. Well, we put a roll of toilet paper in a cellophane bag. We tied it with a ribbon. We attached a candy bar on the outside, all different ones. One said, I'd spare a square for you. One said, this poopy emoji, this too shall pass.
Oh, my gosh.
I had a couple other ones. I don't remember. People were buying shopping bags full of those things.
Hilarious. And they're great gifts to drop off to somebody's house, right?
They were leaving them on people's doorsteps. Yeah.
Genius.
So it was just all kinds of things like that. When Easter came around, I went around, I did a video. That's when I started embracing video. I don't like doing that, but I was like, hey.
You guys do a great job with it.
We don't have a choice. I showed all the different chocolates. I said, you can build a basket. Just tell me what you want in it. And people were calling, building baskets. I had ordered a bunny suit before COVID. When it came, we were all like, oh, my God, this came from China. We were freaking out. We're like, what if there's COVID in this?
In
like,
the
when
bunny
you think
suit.
back, you're like, that was so stupid.
Right. Hey, if I'm going out, that's a great story.
I unpacked that bunny suit. I put it out in my deck for 2 days in the sun. I was like, anything that's in there's going to die.
Oh, my goodness.
So, because I said, your baskets will be delivered by the Easter Bunny. Well, my husband wore that Easter Bunny costume.
Yeah.
And he hopped to those houses and did like Stewie from look what I can do.
Oh, my goodness.
He's on video doing that. So
You have a very good husband.
He is. He's extremely talented. Something Brewing would not exist without him. You know, there's no way because something breaks every flipping day. Every day something breaks. He's fixing something. It's a sink. It's a toilet. It's a refrigerator. And he doesn't do refrigeration, but
he
will fix things.
Right. So you're saying that through COVID, it really is about making and now looking back, you made some really good decisions, not knowing what they would do, but doing the best you could for your business. Yes.
Yeah, I had to. I was in full on fight mode.
Sure.
And I felt like I had the stamina to work 1 million hours because I had been working with Matt Peterson and I had so much endurance.
Right.
That like And I had to stop working out because I went full in on work, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not sore. But I was working 16, 17 hours a day. It didn't matter. I just kept going.
Wow.
But I did what I had to do. So then.
Wait, I want to pause for a second because I want to touch on this because I learned something about you today, and I was like, oh, that is really fun fact. This is really cool. So why were you working out with Matt Peterson?
Well, Matt had approached me.
Fitness Pursuit. Shout out to Matt.
Yes, he's in the same mall as my Washington Street location. He had approached me one day and said something along the lines of, hey, I'd like to work with you and a couple of your employees, and I think I can get some of that weight off of you. Matt's very direct. And
I can't get away with saying that to anybody.
No, and the first time I was like, after he left, I was like, did he just call me fat? What the heck? So anyway, I did go work, and I did lose weight, and then started doing crazy things like swimming and biking and running. I was already biking. I like to bike. But I had never swam in my life, and he tried to drown me, literally, in Grayslake, Matt. But he taught me how to swim. And then, for some crazy reason, I started doing tries. Then I started with like little sprints and stuff, and then I probably too quickly worked my way up, and I did Ironman. And when I was working out
did
with
the
him,
Ironman?
Yeah.
Holy
So
cow.
when I was working out with him, and my husband saw me doing it, he started going to Fitness Pursuit too, and he was already strong just from doing construction.
Yeah.
But so he started doing all of that, and then he learned he hated swimming, but he learned how. And we did it together, even though we were advised don't do this the same year because it's no little commitment.
No, it's a huge commitment.
Yeah, especially when you're running your own business. And so then all of a sudden you're on a Sunday. This is what I say when I do something, I go all in. And you're out for 5 or 6 hours on a bike ride. Yeah, and
wow.
I don't want to be on my bike ever again for 5 or 6 hours. I like to ride my bike.
Okay, so you did an Ironman. What other did you?
2016.
Wow.
We did Ironman. I did like half Ironman a couple times before that. The years like Door County, we did that one 2 times, I think, and then.
You're crazy.
Yeah. The year after that, I stepped away from tries. It's like stressful. It's a lot of stuff you got. It's a lot of gear you got.
All right, when you say tries,
it's a lot of money.
What's
triathlon?
Triathlon.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
And how many triathlons did you do?
I only did 1 Ironman.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't the intention, but that's just kind of what happened.
Swimming, biking,
and running.
Okay.
Yeah, you swim. You're gonna test my numbers. 112 miles. No, oh my God, what? 2 miles.
Wow.
You bike 112, and then you run a full marathon.
Okay.
So
well, that says a lot about you and your work ethic and what it takes.
From like 7 in the morning till 11 at night. My husband finished before me.
Wow.
But whatever, I finished.
Good for you. That's
so
a huge
the following year, all I did was a full marathon. And I don't love
all
running.
you did.
No, I'm slow. I was always a slow runner.
Yeah.
But then when COVID happened, I just completely stopped working out. And I am training again now with Lori. She worked at the Fitness Pursuit at the time. During COVID, she left there, and then she started doing Zoom classes. I love Zoom.
Yeah.
I run home from work, I change my clothes, I run down to my basement, set up my phone, boom, I'm in class.
Which is great.
Yeah, there's no fuss, there's no muss, there's no equipment, everything's down there. It's fast, easy. It's not easy, but you know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing to get in the way.
Right.
So, and I'll do a class with her 3 times a week. So, yeah, so that's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had to mention that because those are huge accomplishments. That's a big deal.
That was I don't.
You should see the look on her face right now. You're looking like,
I know.
And why did I do that?
Yeah, right. That's when we look at each other and we're like, "Were you stupid?" And then to do it together, yeah, because now you're both like dead at the end of the day because you're training and
Oh my gosh, I can't even. So so getting back to the other stuff. So coming out of COVID, that whole thing.
Yeah, so a lot of things changed during COVID. That's when I got my POS system. I was using an old school cash register. We were writing down orders by hand.
Okay.
So during COVID, we got the POS system. That was probably the best decision I ever. One of the best. That was probably the best decision that I made was to get that. But because that allowed us to scale so much. Because now it's like beep 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 beep, and you can wait on customers. I would never be able to handle the volume that we're doing now, doing it the way we were.
Interesting.
You couldn't train employees. They don't have to know the prices. They just have to know where to find them. You know, and everything's in there. And then every piece of chocolate, we figured out how to make QR codes. We figured out, like, we make all of our own labels, and figuring out the QR codes and then getting those into the POS system, which now they want to charge you to do that. But I'm like, we already did it. I don't have to pay that monthly fee. So now we don't have to, it's everything's coded. So they just hit it with a gun, and the price. So there's no like charging the wrong prices. You know, nobody's getting overcharged, undercharged. It's all in the system.
I have so many questions for you about that.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to take a break here really quick and do a little something we call the Grayslake hot seat.
Uh-oh.
Oh yes. So
God.
okay, so the fun story when I first talked to you, because so when doing a podcast and I get to record all this stuff, I go home, do everything, and then I always say it's pressing one button, but there's a lot more than that. So I press one button, and I'm used to live performance things. So when you do a podcast, it's fun because you walk around town, and somebody might say, hey, I listened to whatever. So it's always a pleasant surprise, and I feel honored that people actually listen. But to talk to you and say you've listened to so many shows at 2 times speed.
Yes.
Don't tell people that they can do that, though. There's a 2x
I gotta be
button.
efficient. You can trim the silence too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. What platform are you listening on? Do you know?
What is it called?
Because so many people listen on Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon.
Pocket Casts.
I didn't even know we're on Pocket Casts.
And then you are.
Good. And that's probably why my numbers are down, because you're listening on Pocket Casts. I don't know how to get that. I can't get my analytics from there. But it's fun, and the point being that I think that and this is a shout out to Tony's Butcher Shop, because what's the T-shirt we're making him? You didn't mean it in that way. So passionate about his meat.
Oh, yeah,
he's very passionate about his meat.
He's very passionate.
So we're going to start a T-shirt line.
Yeah, your podcast episode made me go in there.
Really?
He's got really good ground beef. Because when you cook ground beef now, what do you have in your pan? You have a whole bunch of water.
Yes.
My husband's like, oh, that's kind of greasy. I'm like, that's good.
Right. It's kind of real fat.
Because, your meat will brown. Right. You're boiling, like, anytime you cook hamburger, it's boiling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did awesome there. And I would go anywhere else.
Yeah, his ground beef was great.
Okay, so shout out to you, Sean. That's good.
The Grayslake Hot Seat is brought to you by Joe Velez at JPV Financial. It's often said that those who fail to plan are planning to fail. Joe Velez and his team at JPV Financial create unique financial plans that address some of the most difficult challenges that people might face as they get older. No matter what stage of life you're in, having a proactive financial plan can help navigate some of the difficult decisions you'll face, helping you live your life by design, not default. Securities and investment advisory service offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Now for the Grayslake Hot Seat. Hey, thanks, Joe.
Okay, so we're going to, now that you've listened to a lot of things, we'll go around.
Yeah.
All right, so if you you don't have a boat, do you?
A boat?
Yeah.
My husband had one back in the day. But no.
So if you guys got a boat today, what would the name of the vessel be?
Going down with the ship? I don't know.
Overboard or something?
Yeah.
Yours would be good for overboard.
It would probably be like Coffee Cruise or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd probably start selling coffee off the sideboard.
You would, because you'd have to work. You'd have to be on
not up here.
Right. You'd be on the chain with the coffee station.
Yeah. Oh, my God. It could be another.
No, business. You're not. No more
My
stores.
My boat will be called Something's Brewing.
Right. There you go. What kind of music do you listen to?
Disco.
Do you?
Mostly, yeah.
If you have the
yes, my customers come dancing in when I have the disco on.
That's great.
Usually, yeah. Mostly. But I do listen. I listen to a lot of stuff. But I like disco.
Would you consider yourself street smarts or book smarts? You're from the streets, though.
Yeah, but yeah, my husband would say she's not street smart.
Right.
I read a lot of books. I'm a bookaholic.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so if your life was
There's
a book,
story on
what
that.
would it? If your life was a book, what would it be entitled?
Oh, As the Coffee Brews.
As the coffee brews.
I keep saying if I'll write a book one day.
You should.
And that will probably be what it's called, but probably not.
I'll be looking. It'll have to be after you retire or something.
Yeah,
so
right.
Have time
I
to
have
do
no
it.
time right now.
A place that you'd like to travel that you haven't been.
Outside of Grayslake.
Okay. I've heard that it's nice out there. It's like the Truman Show, where they have you in this bubble.
It's definitely the joke is that Linda doesn't leave Grayslake.
Well,
I pretty much don't.
We're going to work on that.
Yeah.
Would a 12-year-old version of yourself think you're cool?
Probably not.
No? You have a lot of chocolate to give them, though. That would...
Yeah. The 12-year-old was... Oh. She was feisty. I'm still feisty.
I was going to say was.
Yeah. She was unedited feisty.
Gotcha. You've done very well of not swearing today, so that's good.
Right.
Not that you swear, but if you were.
No, I'm from Chicago.
Right, this is true.
I swear when I get mad.
Are you superstitious at all?
Yes.
About what?
Oh.
You have one in particular?
One in particular. I try not to curse people.
Really?
Yeah. There's stories.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel fortunate that you're not going to do that. Mm-hmm. Have you ever eaten a roller dog from a gas station?
No. I know you asked that. No, my stomach rumbles every time I hear you ask that question. Ugh. No.
Okay.
No.
See? Maybe.
I worked in a hot dog stand.
Oh, yes.
No. Those hot dogs, no, they sit on that roller for too long. That's gross. Don't eat those, Dave. Plus, I don't like food other people can touch.
Okay.
Yeah, and buffets, no. They should be outlawed.
Okay.
It's disgusting.
If you had to have a theme party at your house, what would it be?
A theme party. So, probably something with making food. With all of us making food. Yeah, I think that would be kind of fun. Like a class. Like, you know what would be really cool is to bring in an outside chef to come in and do something that my party goers have never done. Like, that would be kind of cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
Oh. Depends on who you ask. Well, okay, the last time I got a ticket was a really long time ago, and I was on 45, and somebody was turning left, and I passed them on a shoulder, and I got a ticket for that. But then, this was a long time ago, and then the cop came up, because I went to court, and he said, she owns a business in town, she pays enough taxes, let her go.
Really?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Tip my hat to him.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
I was like, thanks. I don't think that would happen now. Right. I wouldn't do that now. I know better. I didn't know that was illegal.
Yeah, there's a lot of potholes on that side, too, like no matter where you're doing that.
It was like 20 years ago.
Mm.
Yeah.
This will be a fun one for me to ask you. Because I know you've been involved, which we're going to talk about a little bit, too, is what is your favorite Grayslake event?
I love Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
I love Trick or Treat. That's like the best day downtown. And I think I spent $500 on candy this year. We had candy left over, which is weird because there was a lot of kids down there.
Yeah.
And I buy my candy wholesale. So I had a lot of candy.
$500 of wholesale candy and you...
Yeah.
I would love to know, as a community, how much we spent on candy to give away that day.
A lot. There were so many people. That's an amazing... But you know what? Christmas is really good. The farmers market. Okay, so a recurring event, farmers market. Yeah. Farmers market's awesome. It just brings a lot of people downtown, and that's something where I say sometimes businesses miss the mark when they complain about the farmers market. That brings so many people downtown. I don't care how much parking there is or isn't downtown. People will find a place to park.
We have a lot of things we should be complaining about besides bringing people to our town.
Yeah. I'm like, Julie, you should grow the farmers market more. Julie, close the street in front of my store. Put them out there. I would love that.
Yes. Julie's awesome, and I'm hooking up with her to have her.
She works hard.
Yes. We're going to talk to her about all the things. She does.
Oh, yes.
She is feisty, and I love it, too.
Is.
We're doing stupid videos, and she's like, came up to me like, and who are you?
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm like,
Julie's awesome.
And who are you, Julie? So
you're like, I know who you are.
But she's great. We get to mess with each other. She's really fun. Yeah, it is fun to think about all the events we have.
Yeah, we have a lot.
And the good things it brings.
And we're going to have a new St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be in the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Are you?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
Trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Maybe come in on a roller dog thing, come down the thing, or pass out, throw roller dogs at people.
Oh, yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, so many jokes with that. I'm going to leave alone. Okay, so because you've listened to a ton of podcasts, which one has been your favorite?
I have a couple. Well, I did really enjoy the meat market, and Mike, obviously.
Yes.
My buddy Pruitt.
Yes, we're going to have a little conversation about your special relationship of your Mike's, because I think it's kind of a cool stories.
Yeah. Mike's a troublemaker.
He is.
But my pickle soup is better, Mike.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
We should get and that's been an internet debate, I believe, as well, on who has the better pickle soup.
Yes.
Okay, but now you've heard it here.
Yeah.
And it's been a year and a half since he's been on the show, so we can get away with that.
Oh, well, no.
Although I'll have to see him later this afternoon.
Your 100th.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
He was on that, and we talked about the beer fest, too. So, been all over the place. Okay, so, first concert you ever attended?
I might have this wrong, but I think that it was Ozzy and Motley Crue opened up for Ozzy, and they actually did. Ozzy was not in good shape then. That's when he was back, biting heads off bats.
Yes.
Motley Crue was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And anybody's like from back in the day, like.
But we also saw REO Speed. So I don't remember which one was first.
Both super fun.
My husband will know because I was with him. It was High School Sweethearts.
Really? High School Sweethearts?
Yeah.
Isn't that the coolest thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I know you have no time, but here's a fun question for you. Last show that you binge watched?
Oh, I stream shows in my office when I'm doing paperwork because then it feels like I'm not working.
Right.
But I bounce between shows because I have so Suits, Fall of the House of Usher, great show.
Not seen that.
No, you should watch that.
I will.
A lot. Anything that has a lot of episodes, I like to put on because then I don't have to waste time finding something.
Yes. So if you find someone with 6 seasons with 12 episodes a season.
Yeah. Desperate Housewives. Yeah. All of those.
You watch all those.
Yes. Ally McBeal. I loved Ally McBeal.
Oh my God.
Yes. Which is probably why I like to play Barry White in the store sometimes.
You are hilarious.
You have no idea.
Have you ever won an award?
Yes. I got the Economic Development Award years ago.
Yeah.
And then...
That's a big deal. That's an honor.
Yeah. And then in high school...
Yes, this will be
I
fun.
was in a business club, Distributive Education Clubs of America, and I wrote an employee handbook, and I got first place for that in the state, and then I was like state vice president.
Really?
Yeah, that was cool. But that's about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's your favorite candy?
Marzipan.
I don't even know what that is.
It's ground almonds, and then it's dipped in chocolate. We make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming in for that. Yeah.
I try not to eat that.
Yeah, but it sounds wonderful. You're very passionate about that.
Yeah.
Tell me about the second time you were arrested.
I was only arrested once.
Okay. Well, then we don't need to talk about that. We'll just. Yeah. I'm only wanting to hear about the second time.
It was a wine cooler. It was just a wine cooler.
It's just a wine cooler. I was just passing on the right.
And I got handcuffed for a wine cooler.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. How old
20.
were you? At 20?
I was 20. I was married. I owned a house already, and I was like,
Are you serious? Now, was it because of underage drinking or because you're drinking a wine cooler and that should be illegal?
No, it was because right. It was for underage drinking.
Right.
Yeah,
wow.
I was handcuffed to my girlfriend, and we were put in a cell.
Really? That's an experience for a wine cooler.
They were definitely trying to teach us a lesson.
Mm-hmm. How'd that work out? Did you learn something from that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometime I'm going to tell my first, actually right where we're at, I'm going to tell a Grayslake arrest story from a childhood.
In Grayslake?
Right behind the building here, because the road that used to go through here where the bus transportation, it was kind of like a dead end, like really weird road that you could hide on. Supposedly hide on, in air quotes, from the cops.
Hide back there.
Yes, not as well, but I'll tell that another day.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
you got to work up the courage.
Yeah, I have to check with my other
people. You're blushing.
The people that were involved. And then and how the police used to work in Grayslake. Like, they would act like way back in the day. Somebody remind me of that, and we'll talk about that.
Most people have no idea what to do with their aging loved one who needs help. Well, there is a solution. A company that provides care and assistance to make your loved one feel right at home. At Right at Home, their mission statement is to improve the quality of life for those they serve. They offer extensive services: personal and companion care, safety supervision and transportation, fall prevention, dressing and bathing assistance, medical reminders, meal prep, hospice support, ambulation support, stroke recovery, Parkinson's support. The list goes on and on and on. If you have an aging loved one that needs help, call Right at Home. Most people prefer to age in their home rather than moving to an assisted living or nursing home. Right at Home can make this happen. Contact Right at Home at rightathomennlc.com or give them a call, 847-984-0103. Now back to the show.
What's the last thing you purchased on Amazon?
I buy stuff every day.
Right. What, do you have any idea what the last thing is?
Yeah, boxes for Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And some pink lights for the front of my store.
So what holiday, do you have a holiday that's, Valentine's Day has got to be big, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Is that the biggest holiday for you?
No, Christmas.
What do you like? What kind of stuff do you sell for Christmas?
Oh God, everything. Yeah, we do a lot of corporate orders. So baskets, a lot of like wicker trays with the baskets laid out that goes to offices. Okay. So we do a lot of that. Because the COVID killed that business, so it's slowly growing. Because business to business, that all dropped off that year,
Yes.
Because you cannot share a tray of chocolate with people.
No.
When there's a big communicable disease going on.
Right.
But that's all coming back now.
Right. Good.
And a lot of just like individual baskets, and then just boxes of candy, and we sell our store T-shirts and mugs, and we make all of our own seasonings. So coffee beans, people. This Christmas was insane.
I bet.
Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. All right, we're going to jump back into that. Thank you for answering questions.
Okay.
So this is the question I want to say. So you brought me a little package here.
This is our latest.
Okay, so this
innovation.
This is the Grays in Grayslake. I'm going to open now.
So after 30 years, how do I keep doing this? Okay, so I can do whatever I want, right? Because I own my own business.
I've read that somewhere. I can do whatever I want, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And so when people are like, you don't have enough of this or that, it's like, open your own coffee shop. I'm sorry. Doing the best I can here.
Yeah, and I'm doing what I want at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me what I'm opening here.
That's a Pop-Tart.
Okay, I'm going to have a bite while I'm on here, too.
Yes.
Okay,
So we started making pies. We've done them on and off for so many years. And then I had a wonderful baker join my team by the name of Catherine. I miss you, Catherine. And she wanted to make pies, so she started making pies. And then she also she brought in a starter, and she started making sourdough bread. So Catherine brought us both of those things. And then she left. She kind of got to the point of, our air conditioning went out one day, and I think that kind of did her in because our air conditioner struggles to keep up with how much we're baking. I'm worried about that. I have to put in a second system or something. But she just finally got to the point of, I just really want to bake for fun for my family. It was too much,
right?
But then the day she told me she was quitting, Courtney, who's worked for me for years, and she had a baby. She was still working remotely for me. First time I ever had a remote worker. Thanks, COVID, for giving me that. So we do all the design work together. So she helps me work on the website and just anything. Every sticker for every product that we make, every T-shirt that we design, our mugs, we do all of that together. She will take care of the POS system for me. She's really good at that stuff.
Sounds like
technical,
it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so the day that Catherine told me, Courtney was next door at our chocolate factory, which is right next door to Washington Street, the obvious, and that's where Uniquely Sweet got swallowed up. By the way,
understand.
I finally decided after so many years it was too confusing for people that didn't realize that Something Spring Uniquely Sweet was the same business. Mm-hmm. So I kind of let that name go. I still have the website just online, but now it's Something Spring Chocolate Factory is just we took the space next to the Washington Street store, and that's where our kitchen is. Small retail space in there that you can still go in.
Okay.
But anyway, Courtney was over there. She was doing something, and she took one look at me. She was like, "What's wrong?" Courtney knows me like a book. She's been with me forever. And I told her, I'm like, "Oh my God, Catherine's quitting. I don't know what I'm going to do, blah, 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 blah." And, so then I'm a firm believer, if you talk about superstitions, that the universe provides when you really need it.
Right.
Right there. She says to me, "I'll do it." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "I'll do it." I'm like, "What do you mean you'll do it?"
Really? She'll do it.
She said, I want to come back to work full time. I'm ready, because she had her daughter. And she came back. And in like a week and a half, Catherine taught her how we were making pies, taught her how to make the sourdough. And Courtney she had done sourdough before on her own. She's an herbalist. So she just gets that stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, so she just took it and ran with it. And holy cow, we were selling an enormous amount of pies. Like, that business has just gone crazy. So anyway, we have this pie crust. It's amazing. And then I just said to her one day, "We should make Pop-Tarts." And the next day, she made Pop-Tarts.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So, first of all, it's amazing because I've been eating while you're talking right there. What flavor is this? Strawberry?
That is raspberry.
Raspberry.
Oh, yeah, they gave you 2 raspberry. I told them to put in a box for me.
my gosh. Okay,
You didn't
so
get a strawberry, sorry.
before I came to talk with you, I was speaking with someone and I said, "Oh my God, ask her about the Pop-Tarts." So the Pop-Tarts are the craze.
Yeah,
That's what everybody likes.
Facebook is like our thing.
I'm never going to buy it.
It looks good. Facebook's definitely our thing. We have through COVID, I grew that following, and I don't even know how many, 7,500 people on Facebook. I don't even know.
Good for you.
Something like that.
And that's called Something's Brewing.
Yeah, Something's Brewing Inc. Because there is a Something's Brewing page that keeps getting generated for the downtown store, like as people check in. I have merged that page so many times I finally gave up.
Okay.
Because it just like goes off on its own again. But Something's Brewing INC Inc. because we are incorporated. That's our main page, and that's where we post. So you
guys have a lot of really fun stuff on there that I think make awareness of holy cow, you have all this stuff.
Sometimes I'll fall off for a day or two. I'm like, oh, I gotta post something. But I try not to be too obnoxious.
So much stuff. Yeah,
because when people walk in the store, I can identify someone that is brand new that's never been in the store in a heartbeat because they look like
a deer in the headlights. Like, what the heck is going on?
They look completely off, and I look at them and I go, first time in, and they're like, yes. I said, are you completely overwhelmed right now? Yes. That can go one of two ways. Either they're like, oh my God, this is amazing, or they're mad.
Sure. Because
they're overwhelmed and their senses are shutting down.
Yep.
And I keep saying I'm going to make flashcards that say, welcome, we know it's your first time. We know you're overwhelmed.
That would be really funny.
It's going to be okay. We're here for you.
There's a buzzer that goes out at the front door as they walk in.
Yeah, like, everybody, get over here, quick.
Assist her.
Yeah, so if I'm waiting on them, I will always try to give them a little, here's this and that, this is how this works, blah, 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 this is where this is or whatever. Point out some things. Because a lot of people don't know that we make everything in the store. There's only a few things. We don't make the gummy bears. Okay. I get those in.
Everything else is made there.
Yeah, I have a section of other local entrepreneurs. Like I have a Bath and Body section, jewelry. So a couple of that have become, they weren't my friends before this, but they're friends now.
Right.
Couple of things. Courtney, who works for me, her herbal line, she has her stuff in there. So a couple of things there. It's all in one section. Carol, she has the cards in there.
Great cards.
Yeah, her cards are awesome. And if you want a card from Grayslake,
which is really cool, right?
Yeah, because you can get her card. You can get a coffee, a bag of Grayslake Blend coffee or Center Street. I have both of those. You can grab a mug or a T-shirt, and like if you're sending a gift to somebody.
Anybody that came in there, you could find a gift there for anything.
For sure.
Okay, so even if you only did coffee and bakery stuff, it would be hard for me to decide on what I'm going to get on which kind of muffins, because we talk about like I love it because the adults in town love what you have. There's your teenagers that come in there.
Yeah.
They absolutely rave about
the kids love it.
everything.
Well, and families are driven by the kids, so you better cater to the kids.
Exactly.
And especially those are like my little up-and-coming customers.
Okay, so the hardest thing for me to do at Something's Brewing is somebody says, okay, well, where are we going to go to lunch today? So let's go to Something's Brewing. Your menu is so extensive on, I mean, everything that you could think of doing.
And then I just want to keep adding more, but they all tell me no.
Well, no. Like, how do you? There's your inventory is enormous. Yeah. Your selections are endless. It seems.
Yes.
So to work there, you have a lot to teach people,
know,
right?
And that's why they tell me no. They're like, stop.
When people order stuff and they look back at you like, well, do we have that? Because you have so many things.
But I have a good team of management that, you know, I mean, my son, Corey, is running the downtown store. Cassie, she's running everything in back at Washington Street. So she's got a big job because she has to do all that ordering. But Corey's been with me since he was born.
Right.
And Cassie, basically slightly after she was born, I don't remember if she was in high school. Probably. Cassie, were you in high school? She was probably, I don't know.
How did you get Cassie?
Lord, if I remember. She probably just came in and asked me for a job, and at that point I hired anybody. No. Well, she has had 2 kids in the meantime. You know, she was pregnant at the store with both of them. I had brand new oven mitts. And I said I used to put a bun in the oven. I would take a picture of like I'm around Facebook. I had my oven mitts. I'm like, I'm ready. Yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so Corey running so he's, I would think that he's either one way or the other. He's got to be all in or be like, I want nothing to do with this, Mom.
He's in. He's never he is point blank told me he's never going to work the way I work. So
I will also echo that.
Yeah. Does Something's Brewing continue after I'm gone, or, you know, does somebody else buy it and I go, here's your share, Corey? You know, I don't know what I'm not ready to retire, so I'm not really too worried about that. Could anybody run the beast that I've grown? I don't know. Because
there's so many moving
it takes so much. Like, I couldn't do it without my husband. He couldn't do, like, you know, he's way more part of it now because, you know, he closed his construction business into COVID, and then he took over. I used to drive between the stores all the time. He took all of that over. He can run the kitchen. He doesn't want to, but he'll jump in and help them whenever. He doesn't mind doing that. He doesn't want to be in charge of the kitchen. You know, it's not his thing. And when COVID happened and he first had to run the kitchen, that was a hard time for us. You know, because he was like, I was a master carpenter, and now I'm making food. You know, this isn't what I saw myself doing. You know, and that was hard for us. You know, to go from he would come in, stop by for a little while, and leave, and all of a sudden we were together all day in a very stressful time. So that was hard times.
Oh,
but
I bet.
That's okay now.
Wow.
He all the menu boards. He did all those by hand.
Yeah, I was the menu boards. Like, holy smokes! Like that's a job in itself.
Yeah,
but you know,
he's got to do it twice.
Oh my gosh.
For both.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so with yes or no, basically from Washington to Center Street. If I'm going for lunch, can I expect the same thing from both locations?
Same exact menu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I sure hope we're doing things the same.
Yeah.
You know, when you have 50 people, there's going to be some issues because there's only one of me to enforce everything. Right. Mike will you know, he doesn't want to boss people around. He'll tell people like, oh, you're doing that wrong. Not up front so much. He's Mr. Bean Man. Like, he can't make a pot of coffee.
Really?
And he knows that. Yeah. Because, there's a story there. But, you know, he can do everything in the kitchen, and he'll think of better ways, because even when you have somebody come in from the outside and learn this job, and it's like, why are you doing that? You know, because you see something different. Sure. Right? And to us, this is always the way. And so, like, he's seeing things that, like, that's just dumb. Like, fix that. Sure. You know, do it this way. And so, you know.
And you need people like that, right? To find those things.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you say, like, can somebody do this after you? to find the right blend of like the person that you are from your work ethic to your creativity to a little bit of crazy has to go in with this to make it all work, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
But also, but you have to have relationships with your the people that work with you, right?
Yeah, and I'm not the easiest person to work with.
I've only heard nice things about you.
No, you haven't.
I have.
I mean, I expect them to work.
Yep.
You know, and I expect the customers to be taken care of. And, I mean, the store needs to look a certain way because we are visual. People, I want people to be, I mean, I want them to be in awe when they walk in. I want them to look and be overwhelmed.
Sure.
I like that they're overwhelmed. Sorry.
Well, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Every time I walk in, and I've been there hundreds of times, and
I
I'm
want
still
things
like,
to keep changing because if they stop changing, that means that I lost my love for it. And that did kind of happen for a little while, probably when I was Ironman training because I was exhausted.
Yeah.
You know, and there was no creativity happening during that whole time. So COVID did bring that back to me.
Good.
And it brought my fight back, and that. It relit things for me, you know, and we did okay during COVID. We did well. I'm not bragging about that because I had somebody say that to me. You're bragging. I'm not bragging. I worked my butt off.
No, you're proud of what you guys accomplished.
Yeah, and when the village was handing out money to the restaurants, because I was told, hey, did you get that? I'm like, no, I didn't get anything. Like, you should ask. That was a substantial amount of money because and it wasn't they were giving that, they were refunding a part of sales tax, I believe is what. And I called the village, and I felt very awkward doing that.
Right.
But just saying, like, hey, I heard everybody's getting these checks.
There's
like,
some assistance,
kind of
right?
And they were like, you know, we were gonna send you an email. We just didn't get around to it because I think they were trying to figure out how to word this. And they're like, we pulled sales tax to see what to do for the restaurants, and you're the only restaurant making money.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I stayed open all of my hours.
There's probably a couple reasons for that.
Yeah, and I was working Facebook hard.
Right.
You know, and we were doing okay. And so with that answer, I was like, okay, you know what? Okay, that's fine. I don't want anything that I don't deserve, but I was encouraged to ask, and I'd be stupid to not ask.
Well, of course.
If you're handing out money, hi.
Sure.
And I mean, and part of me was kind of like, what the heck? Like, I just work 7 days a week, and I'm getting up at 3 o'clock every day, and I'm working until 7 o'clock at night, and a lot of these other places are only open for 2 and 3 hours. So did I just work my butt off for nothing? But in the end, no, it didn't matter. It all worked out the way it was supposed to for everybody.
Correct.
You know, so I didn't get that money, but it was fine. I don't care.
Right.
You know, I made good choices, and we made changes during that have paid off in the end.
Yes.
And I have a more stable business now, you know,
think about
coming out of that.
Think of all that how much did you learn during that time? And have to be creative and have to find ways to make it.
Right. It did. And it forced me to love my business again because at that point I was kind of like, kind of sick of doing this, you know.
Right. It's funny how things will ignite and like, okay.
Yeah. Like what turns you back around, you know.
And when failure is not an option.
Yeah, because what would I have done?
Right.
You know, and really, like, even with the cost of health insurance, like, I literally was thinking, am I going to go get a job at Jewel just so I have health insurance? Because we're self-employed. My health insurance is ridiculous. I don't have a group to pull from.
I know.
You know. So
it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So that's made a big difference. It's fun to see. All right. But because we're going on in time here, I did want to talk about because being in the community and knowing people and watching how things go. Tell me about how you meet Pruitt and how because you guys did a lot of different events and a lot of things together.
Yeah, I don't remember how I met him.
Probably when he
our first meeting, I don't remember.
Because you heard that somebody had the second best pickle soup in town.
No, way before that. Yeah, it was way before that. He actually accused me of copying his pickle soup, if I remember correctly.
I'm sure I'm going to get a phone call right now.
Probably, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But you guys did a lot of different things together. You've had a good relationship for a long time.
Yeah, and we do our little faux arguments on Facebook, and then people think it's real, and I'm like, oh my God, did you see what Mike said? I'm like, he's messing with you.
Yeah, it's Mike, right?
Yeah, we're friends. But Mike will also text me and tell me any scuttlebutt that I might be missing, know. So, no, I love Mike.
It's good. And we have such a fun, even I knew a lot of people before doing the show, but now really getting to know, all the different personalities and how it shapes our town, how it shapes our community of when they're just talking about stores that are there, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right. What haven't we talked about that? I was reading stuff about you. You guys make your own spices.
Yeah.
We
don't make this. We make our own spice blends.
Blends.
Because the first one. So we make tater babies, right? The potatoes that come with our breakfast,
which are wonderful. Yes.
And
I'm still eating my.
That's okay.
My thing over here.
You eat it. So that kind of came out of me. I don't personally like to use any kind of packaged spice blends because they're always putting maltodextrin or MSG, autolyzed yeast extract. There's always stuff in there, flowing agents. So forever I've always made my own spice blend. So when we started doing the potatoes, we made up our own blend and we used that. And then everybody oh my God, the spices on there are great. Well, then I probably washed my hair one day because that's a running joke at work. Every time I wash my hair, I come back to work with something else new. So if we're feeling bored, no.
That's funny.
So usually that's every 2 days. So sorry guys, you're gonna make something new. So then I said, let's package it and see what happens, right? So we started packaging Tater Baby seasoning, sold like crazy. And when we do our Fiesta sale, we make our own taco seasoning. I was like,
it's really good.
Package that up because I would make that at home before I make my own tacos. Because if you read the back of a taco seasoning package, there's a bunch of junk in there. Nobody should be buying that. And our package is big; you get a lot for the money. But when the bag of parsley comes, of course, that's always the joke at work. What is it? Because it's huge. What 10 pounds of parsley is really big. And then our oil and vinegar that we use on our Italian subs.
That's also excellent.
So we have that one packaged. And I don't know, we package our cocoa powder and our.
How do I make spinach dip like you guys do?
So.
Oh my goodness!
Norris vegetable soup mix.
Okay.
We use that, and the original recipe was from them so many years ago. Yeah, so
good.
Mayonnaise, sour cream, green onions, water chestnuts, spinach.
I'll just come and buy it from you.
Yeah, it's a lot of work because you got to squeeze that spinach. You got to.
I bet. And my favorite side, there's never a question of which side I'm getting.
People will usually, they can't see me, but they'll come to the counter and move their wrist in a circular motion. And I know, bagel chips and spinach dip? Yeah, because for some reason they can't say the word. They just do that.
Spinach dip?
Bagel chips and spinach dip.
Bagels. You're okay. Now that you made me say it, bagel chips and spinach dip.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Which is super fun. Okay, and my last quote. Then we got things that you want to make sure that everybody knows. But do you really sell all that chocolate? How long does it last?
You ask me that all the time.
Do you have to rotate the stocks to make sure everything's
So
there's no way you can sell that much chocolate.
We do sell that much chocolate. We do sell the pastries too. My employees will take home some stuff.
Right.
Once in a while, I'll pick up a muffin and into the garbage. If one flavor that we made, is just sitting there.
Right.
Nobody wants it. I'll just pitch it in the garbage. We used to reduce stuff. That was just a big mess. Because that basket would sit out there and it's out in the diner and we didn't pay attention to it. And now you got green thing. No. And then that just it kind of brings a different vibe to the store when you're reducing things. So I don't do that. I was just listening to your podcast with Avon Township.
Yes.
And I was like, I wonder if I could. I don't think I have enough left over to donate. There's just not enough.
Interesting.
But I was like, if there ever becomes enough, I would call her and say, hey, do you want this?
Yeah.
Because that was good to know. But mostly they'll just take home a bag of stuff sometimes, But it's inventory management. And my bakers are baking all day. I mean, I have 6 or 7 bakers.
I'm exhausted just
working
listening to what you guys are working on.
And I'm still drinking. I have like 4 shots of espresso in here that I keep sipping on.
And what time did you start? You said you got up at 3:45 this morning.
I got up at 2:45.
2:45?
Yes. Usually I get up at 3, but lately I've been needing 15 extra minutes for some reason, so I set my alarm for 2:45.
Oh, okay, because I texted you at like 9 p.m. last week, and then you text me back at 2:50 or something.
If I
didn't
don't
hear
answer you, then I'll forget.
It was hilarious. I went, oh, we're not on the same thing. So this is like we met at lunchtime today at like 9 a.m. for you.
No.
You've been up for a long time.
I don't eat lunch until after lunch because we're busy. So,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to get up that early because I have to give the bakers their list in the morning because I'm very controlling. So I type up a list and I email it to them, and then it gets emailed to the downtown store with whatever that I'm noticing of things like, hey, you need to take care of this, that, and the other. But the bakers, they bake so much, and we have to manage that inventory. So I like to keep my hands on that. And that takes me an hour and 20 minutes.
Holy smokes.
To do that every morning.
Wow.
So like today I did that, and then I had my workout with Lori. I had that, and then I went to work, and then I came here.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, and now the day just continues.
Yes.
You get and take off and take everything going.
Yes, I need to do sales tax. I'm going to try and do that today.
That sounds fun.
Every month. That's a fun part, but I'll probably go back over there, help them for a little while. And then,
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so any other fun facts we want the community to know that they might not know, or something you carry that they might not know about?
Oh, my God.
Besides that, everybody should go get a Pop-Tart.
No, not today.
Not today. Okay.
There's only a few.
Okay, well, no, not.
Courtney's rolling dough.
I will let you know before this episode comes out.
And now they haven't been to. So we baked everything that we had, all the dough that we had left prepped. We baked this morning. So she's making more today. So yeah, so okay, it's like talk about scratch.
Wow. No, this is wonderful.
So our pie crust is all butter.
Wow. Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So the day before this episode comes out, I'm going to let you know, and I want to see how many people come in for
Pop-Tarts. That's right. I keep thinking we're live.
No. Like, no, don't go over there now. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, we'll have to make some extra.
Oh, it'll be really good.
Yeah. So anytime I post, I'm like, the power of Facebook is insane. And it just depends on if people are seeing your stuff. But sometimes I'll post something like, we start making chicken pot pies. Same pie crust, right?
Oh, you make chicken pot pies?
Yeah.
I love chicken pot pies.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So we have them all the time, take and bake. Little individual ones we're making so far.
I'll be there today for that.
Okay, you gotta take it home and bake it.
Mm-hmm. I'm making for dinner tonight.
We put it in a box. We put instructions on the box. So once in a while we'll bake them, and I'll put it on Facebook. Hey, we're baking some of them. I just don't really have any way to keep them hot for a long time. Right. So we'll bake them, and when they're gone, they're gone. But we've only done that a couple of times where we've baked them and sold them, and we'll only do that at Washington. They have the take and bake downtown at Center Street, but we don't do the baked ones there. They don't have an oven. They have their cooking equipment. They don't have an oven.
Oh, my gosh.
So some things like whole pies are only at Washington, only because we haven't wanted to tote them back. They have slices of pie. And everything we do, is big.
Yeah, I know. I need to can some of your enthusiasm and your energy. That's a quadruple shot. Maybe I'll stop by there before my next adventure today. But yes, I want to say thank you. You've been such a big part of our community.
I'm just sorry that you had to chase me for so long.
Oh, it's fine.
I told you that's part of my New Year's resolution that I have to set aside more time. For some other things.
Well, we have some fun events coming up that I'm running, and you are going to be summoned to have to be there.
Okay.
Have to be there.
I just can't stay up that late, Dave.
That's fine. You'll be just take it. No, maybe I was just saying, just take a nap. Right, espresso there.
No,
and see what you
I can't take it. I cannot go to sleep during the day.
We'll do like a morning version for you of something. Have a bachelorette auction, something. It'd be fun. But so, folks, wherever you're at, wherever you're listening, make sure we go on to Facebook is the big part, right?
Yeah.
Something's Brewing Inc.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And follow there
because I post the soup and coffee list every day. You see that page just has action. If you go on the other one, that's like a check-in page.
Nice.
You'll see other people's posts, but I don't post that because I can't manage any more pages.
No, but believe me, I know.
Yeah.
But go and get a Pop-Tart. I think, and I'm coming in for the do not get the chicken pot pies because I want them.
Oh, we have.
Yes, we have plenty.
Okay. Well, usually.
Oh,
usually.
Good. Well, I'm going to be in to see what happens with that.
I have like 30 in the freezer right now, so you can go get a pot pie.
Yeah. Yum.
Yum,
well, thank you. I appreciate your time. Grayslake, wherever you guys are listening, do me a favor, whether you're on, let's see, where do people listen? What is the name of the thing you're listening at?
Pocket Cast.
Whether you're on Pocket Cast, whether you're on Apple, whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on YouTube, wherever you're at, make sure to subscribe because that way you guys will get an alert every Tuesday when there's a new guest from the community on. And I do, and I really mean it. I think you should listen to people that you don't know because I think it brings our community together. We get to learn about people. And honestly, when I get done, I've shopped at so many different places because I know the owners or I know their story or the struggles they go through. So shop local, keep everything here. It's just really cool. We have a very unique community and do not underestimate that for a second. And as we always end, make sure that, we never know what our family, our friends are going through. So get out there and do one random act of kindness. Go buy a Pop-Tart and give it to somebody your friends, deliver it to their doorstep. Dress up like a bunny, bring some toilet paper, whatever the things I've learned today. But really, kindness spreads like wildfire. So just be kind out there and keep everything going. All right, Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Grayslake, we will see you next Tuesday, everybody.